Bread and cheese are two of the most familiar and comforting foods across cultures, and when eaten in their simplest, traditional forms, they can absolutely have a place in a balanced diet. Whole grain bread offers fiber, B vitamins, and complex carbohydrates that fuel the body steadily, while cheese, especially when consumed in moderation, can be a rich source of calcium, protein, and essential fats that support bone health and satiety. In their unprocessed states and reasonable portions, these foods offer both enjoyment and nutritional value. However, when combined into highly processed forms like cheese stuffed crust pizza, their health benefits are quickly overshadowed by excessive calories, unhealthy fats, refined starches, and sodium. This type of food is far removed from the nutritional balance we associate with real bread and real cheese. Cheese stuffed crust pizza is a prime example of how familiar ingredients can be manipulated into something far more indulgent and far more problematic. The concept itself seems harmless or even appealing. A crust filled with gooey melted cheese sounds like an enhanced version of a standard pizza. But this addition drastically alters the nutritional profile. Commercial stuffed crust pizzas are typically made with refined white flour, heavily processed cheese blends, and added oils to ensure the crust remains soft and flavorful after baking. What you end up with is a product that's dense in calories, saturated fat, and sodium, yet lacking in the kind of fiber, micronutrients, and balanced macronutrients that support good health. One of the biggest concerns with stuffed crust pizza is its extraordinarily high calorie density. A single slice of this kind of pizza often contains anywhere from 300 to 450 calories, and that's before you factor in toppings like pepperoni, sausage, or extra cheese. With most people eating 2 or 3 slices per sitting, it's very easy to consume an entire day's worth of calories in a single meal without even realizing it. The additional cheese hidden in the crust increases the overall fat content significantly, particularly saturated fat, which is closely linked to increased LDL cholesterol levels and a higher risk of cardiovascular disease when consumed in excess. Sodium is another hidden danger in stuffed crust pizza. The dough, cheese, sauce, and any added toppings all contribute to a high salt content. A single serving can contain more than 800 milligrams of sodium, or even double that depending on the size and type, which adds up quickly and can push a person well past the recommended daily intake. Excess sodium consumption is associated with hypertension, fluid retention, and long-term strain on the cardiovascular system. For individuals already managing blood pressure or kidney issues, meals like stuffed crust pizza can pose a significant health risk. Beyond just the numbers, the type and quality of ingredients used in commercial pizzas raise even more red flags. The crust is usually made with refined white flour stripped of fiber and nutrients, leading to rapid blood sugar spikes and little lasting satiety. The cheese blends used in many fast food or frozen pizzas are often heavily processed, containing anti-caking agents, preservatives, and sometimes even fillers like modified food starch. These ingredients are designed for texture, shelf life, and meldability, not nutrition. Combined, they contribute to what is essentially a calorie bomb with very little redeeming nutritional value. What makes stuffed crust pizza particularly insidious is its deceptive familiarity. People assume that because bread and cheese are everyday foods, combining them in pizza form can't be that bad. The truth is, commercial versions are engineered to be hyper-palatable and addictive, hitting all the pleasure centers in the brain, salt, fat, starch, while providing very little in the way of true nourishment. This makes it easy to overeat and hard to recognize when you've had enough. The extra cheese in the crust adds a final layer of indulgence that may feel satisfying in the moment, but can leave people sluggish, bloated, and nutritionally depleted. Even those who try to make better choices with pizza by ordering veggie toppings or opting for thin crust options are often misled by the idea that stuffed crust is just a minor indulgence. In reality, it dramatically changes the overall nutritional balance of the meal. When consumed regularly or in large quantities, foods like cheese stuffed crust pizza contribute not only to weight gain and poor cardiovascular health, but also to dietary patterns that are high in processed foods and low in essential nutrients. This isn't to say that pizza, or even stuffed crust pizza, must be entirely off limits. but it absolutely should be treated for what it is: a high-calorie, low-nutrient indulgence that should be consumed only occasionally and with full awareness of what's really in it. If bread and cheese are to be part of a healthy lifestyle, it's far better to choose high-quality whole grain breads and modest portions of real cheese, ideally accompanied by vegetables or protein, rather than hidden inside a calorie-dense crust. In a culture where food marketing often plays on familiarity and comfort, cheese-stuffed crust pizza is a perfect example of how easily that trust can be manipulated. It's a meal that wears the mask of everyday ingredients but delivers a payload of excess calories, saturated fat, and sodium, all while offering very little in return for your health. The more we treat it like an occasional indulgence rather than a weekly staple, the closer we move to a truly balanced and nourishing diet.